So, come back to this second half of this lecture, and first thing I want to check that is, so let us write it as a lemma. This is I am considering a finite dimensional case. So, let V be a finite dimensional K vector space with basis K basis V1 to Vn in V. So, that means n is the dimension of V. Then the coordinate functions we have just now defined, V1 star, V2 star, Vn star, which are elements of the dual space. V star is called the dual space of V, is a K basis of V star. In particular, their dimensions are equal. Dimension V equal to dimension V star. And these bases V1 star, V2 star, Vn star, this is called the dual basis of V star corresponding to the K basis V1 to Vn of V. So, in particular part is clear, we only have to show that these coordinate functions form a basis of V star, and for that we need to check that they are linearly independent and they generate V star. So, proof, and the most important thing that we will use in the proof is, if you fix J in J, J in 1 to n, and any I and j both are in 1 to n, then by definition Vi star evaluated at Vi, Vj, this is delta Aj, Kronecker symbol. It is clear, because if I want to evaluate Vi star on Vj, then I have to write Vj as a unique linear combination between V1 to Vn, but it is already one of the vectors. So, it is already in that form, and then the coefficient of that is 1. So, it is 1 when I is j, it is 0 when I is not j. So, now first I will prove that they are linearly independent. So, that means if a linear combination A1 V1 star etc., An Vn star, this is 0 where A1 to An are scalars, then from here I want to conclude that all Ai's are 0. Well, you fix J, and so this is a linear form, this is a 0 linear form. So, both evaluate on the vector Vj. So, take any j in 1 to n and evaluate both sides on the vector Vj. On this side you will get A1 V1 star etc., An Vn star evaluated at Vj, but the only term which will survive here is the jth term. and that has a coefficient aj. So, this is aj. On the other side, this sum we were assuming 0. So, it is 0 linear form evaluated at Vj, which is 0. So, we proved aj equal to 0 for all j from 1 to n. So, that proves linear dependence, linear independence of V1 star to Vn star. Now, we want to prove that it generates V star. So, we need to prove now, prove that V1 star, Vn star, which are elements of V star, generate V star. In other words, it is a generating system. So, for this, start with, let f be any linear form V star, that is f is a linear map from V to k, and I want to write this. So, want to write f as a combination a1 V1 star plus 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 an Vn star for some a1 to an scalars in k. So, we are looking for a1 to an, so that this equality happens, but it is clear what do I take. So, for example, how do I take a1? How do I find a1? Just evaluate f on V1 and define it a1. So, a1 is defined to be f of Vn. Note that this is an element in the field. Similarly, a2 f of V2 and so on, an f of Vn. So, I got the scalars and I want to check only this equality, and to check the equality I have to evaluate both sides on arbitrary vector V and check that they are equal, or there are two linear maps from V to somewhere, and if I could check they agree on a basis, then they are equal. So, I will just have to agree, I have to check that on V1, V2 up to Vn they agree, both sides agree. But you see this a1 to an I have defined so that this side agree, this side is this. So, when I evaluate the right side on V1 I should get a1, but that is also clear. If I evaluated the left side on a vector V1, then the only term which will contribute is this, and that will be V1 star evaluated at V1, which is 1. So, a1. So, that will, so enough to check that, enough to note that right hand side, that is a1 V1 star etc 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 an Vn star on arbitrary Vj is aj, j is from 1 to n. This is clear because our properties of the Vi stars, and on the other side is it f of Vj, which is we have called it aj. So, therefore, it proves that it is a generating system for the vector space V star. So, in this case they are equal. Okay. Now, I want to write down few examples to get a feeling for this dual space. So, let us first write down first example. This example shows a close connection between hyperplanes in V, hyperplanes in V and the linear forms and V star, non-zero linear forms to be precise. So, let us recall what is the hyperplane. H in V is called hyperplane. Hyperplane in V if H is a subspace, K subspace, of V, and dimension of H is 1 less than the dimension V. But this means, and we should be able to write V as H or V generated by H and one more vector KV for some V in V, V non-zero. And obviously you will need V should not be in H. If V is not in H, then definitely you need in a generating system, and it along with that V it generates. So, that is exactly one dimension more. So, thing to think about it is, because H is a subspace, you take a basis of H, xj, j in J, k basis of H, and I need one more element in this basis extra, so that you get a basis of V. So that xj, j in J along with V is a k basis of V. In a finite dimensional case it is easier. In a finite dimensional case we could simply say that dimension of H is 1 less than the dimension V. This makes sense only when V is finite dimensional. Otherwise this equality does not make sense. Aleph naught minus aleph naught is aleph naught. So, it does not make sense. So, such a thing is called a hyperplane, and we have lots of examples. For example, if you take usual Euclidean plane R2, then this line for example which passes through origin, this is a hyperplane, this is H, this is a hyperplane. So, for example, this is one vector in H which is a basis. In this picture H is one dimensional, but if I take along with this vector some vector which is like this. So, if you call this as what did I call it, x and this as V, x together with V will generate R2, and x is a basis of H, and nothing special about R2. You can take a plane in R3 passing through origin, that will be 2 dimensional, and take a vector which does not lie in this plane, that along with the basis of the plane will give you a basis of V. So, these are hyperplanes, and now from each hyperplane we can get a linear form, non-zero linear form. How do we get a non-zero linear form? Is, so suppose H is given, H hyperplane in V, that is given. That means I have given H equal to V equal to H plus KV, where V is not in H. If V is not in H, V cannot be 0 also. From here I want to define a linear form F which will depend on this H. So, linear form means V to K. So, if I have to define a linear form, I have to define its values on a given basis. So, take a basis of H. So, xj, j in J, this is a K basis of H, and then I know what is the basis of V. Xj along with V is the basis of V. Along with V, this is a K basis of V, and to give this linear form I just have to define what f of where do xj goes and where do V go. So, I will map V to 1 and all xj's to be 0. And then I get a linear form from V to K. So, this Fh, first of all, what is the kernel of H, kernel of Fh? it contains all the edges and it cannot contain any more because V is not in the kernel. So, kernel of Fh is precisely the subspace of V generated by edges. But this is nothing but H, in fact it is a basis of H. So, it is this H and this Fh is also non-zero. So, from a given hyperplane we got a non-zero linear form. Conversely, given a non-zero linear form F is non-zero, it is not a zero map. Then I want to get a hyperplane, and who could that be? The kernel of F. Kernel of F, I claim it is a hyperplane. Because this linear form is non-zero, it has to be surjective, because some non-zero element A in the image, because it is non-zero, all values cannot be 0. So, some non-zero value will be there. So, A is in the image, but then 1 will also be in the image, because this K is a vector space, and if 1 is 0 then everybody will go to 0. So, 1 is also in the image. So, 1 will come from somebody. So, suppose 1 is coming from V, f of V is 1, then the proof of the rank theorem, if you observe, this V along with the basis of the kernel will give a basis of V. So, that shows that this is hyperplane. So, rank theorem's proof will show that V is H plus KV, and this V is not in H. So, that is the meaning that H is a hyperplane. So, to study hyperplanes in a vector space is equivalent to study non-zero linear forms. Okay. All right. Actually, one also need to study this. I will not do in this course, but one will also need to study hyperplane subspaces which are not subspaces, but which are parallel. They are translations of the subspaces. For example, I will just draw one picture. Suppose in R2, these are the hyperplanes. Hyperplanes in R2 are lines. Hyperplane in R3 are planes, and so on, and they are all passing through the origin, because we are saying they are subspaces. But suppose one want to study a line which is not necessarily passing through origin, so it will be parallel to somebody which is passing through origin, and this line is also close properties with this line, which is the only difference is this is passing through origin, this is not passing through origin. So, this is not a subspace, but it is not too bad as a subspace. So, for example, if you take this vector and add it to this line, all the points in this line, if you call this vector as x, and x plus this red line, x plus this L, this is L, is precisely this black L for x in the picture. So, to study lines, one would like to study these are called affine subspaces. Which are translations of the subspaces. So, similarly one can study in general hyperplanes which are not necessarily subspaces, but they will be translated from the hyperplanes which are passing through the origin. Okay. So, next example I want to study now. Let us take a finite dimensional vector space. So, K field, and let us take the vector space V is K power n, Actually, we have seen any finite dimensional vector space over field is isomorphic to this. If you choose a basis, and then this will be this is if you choose a basis of V, if V1 to Vn is the basis, there is a very natural isomorphism here which uses this basis, namely any V, map it to V1 star of V, V2 star of V, etc. Vn star of V. This is n tuple and these are the coordinates. So, basis gives the coordinates and this map is clearly linear map and it is a bijective map. So, it is an isomorphism. So, in principle any vector space is isomorphic to this, not only that the given basis goes to the standard basis. Okay, so, to do this, so if you take a linear form on V that is k power n, any linear form f, to k. So, this form is where will the tuple go? X1 to xn go to some element here. So, that is they are the coordinates already given. So, it is a1 x1 plus a n xn. This is clearly an element in K because these guys are coordinates. So, there are elements in K and this sum is in K. So, it is element in K and it is surjective because if I want to get 1 in the image, what do? I just take so this is for a fixed a1 to an. So, f of ei is ai. This is true for I equal to 1 to n. So, if f is non-zero, f non-zero means at least one of the ai should be non-zero, equivalent to saying at least one of a1 to an is not equal to 0 and then it will be a non-zero linear form. And then what will it, just now we have seen it will correspond to a hyperplane. Which hyperplane? That is the kernel one. So, what is the kernel in this case? So, kernel of f is precisely by definition all those tuples x1 to xn in Kn such that f of x1 to xn is 0. This is precisely the definition of kernel. But what is this f of x1 to xn? Our definition it is a1 x1 plus a n xn. So, therefore, hyperplane is nothing but a solution space of one linear equation in n unknowns. So, therefore, what we noted is therefore, hyperplane is a solution space of one non-zero equation, linear equation, homogeneous in n unknowns, where this n is the dimension of. So, if you want a hyperplane in n dimensional vector space, it is one linear equation, solution space of one homogeneous equation in n unknowns. All right. So, now one example I want to discuss with infinite dimension. So, that we see the picture that in infinite dimension it can be very different. So, let V I in I not finite, be a k basis of a vector space of the vector space of the k vector space V. Then I want to show you in this case V star is also not finite dimensional and it is bigger in fact. We will see what do I mean by that. So, first of all note that if I have a basis, then I definitely have the coordinate functions V I star. V I star are defined, they are linear forms on V for each I in I. The definition is the same. So, I have to define it on each V, but each V is a finite linear combination of this basis V AI Vi, I in I, and this tuple AI belongs to k power round bracket I. So, I will map this V to AI, I is fixed. So, this may be so definitely some guys will go to 0, almost all vectors will go to 0. Let me call for j, otherwise it will get confused with this I. So, this is j. So, this is aj. So, only finitely many elements of this basis under Vj will go to non-zero guys. In fact, Vj star of Vj goes to 1 and all other goes to 0. Vi, this is 0 if I is not j. So, by the same proof as above, we can check that this family of coordinate function Vj, j varies in I, this is k linearly independent. And they are elements in V star. So, in the vector space, in the dual space V star, I have this family which is linearly independent. Now, it may be basis, it may not be basis. So, but our theorem, abstract theorem says that any linearly independent family of vectors, I can extend it to a basis. So, this family can be extended to a basis of V star. So, therefore, in a basis of V star there will be at least as many elements as that of a basis in V, because it is the same indexing set. But I want to show more, there will be more elements in this, that means this alone is not a basis, we have to extend it by some. So, I have to produce a linear form. So, to produce a linear form, k linear form on V, which is none of these guys, which is different from all Vj stars j in I. Not only different from all these guys, or different from, which is more precisely it is not in the subspace generated by Vj star. This is a subspace of V star generated by Vj star. That means it is the smallest subspace which contain all these Vj star, and because we have noted that Vj star are linearly independent, this vector space, this subspace definitely has Vj star as a basis, because it is a generating set. We have made it a generating set, and we have already checked that Vj star are linearly independent, and we want to produce a linear form, that means an element here which is not here. So, I want to check this. This is what I want to check. So, then this is what I mean by saying that in general, in a infinite dimensional case or not finite dimensional case, V star is a bigger space. Okay, so, our problem is simple. We want to produce a linear form F V to K, K linear form, which is not here. Okay, so, to define F, I just have to give what are its values on arbitrary element. So, I have to define F of summation AI Vi, where this AI tuple belongs to K power round bracket I. So, that this makes sense. And if I define it on arbitrary element, what is this? And I need a scalar. So, what can it be? It is very simple, because this tuple is here. Let us look at the summation AI. This makes sense. This is again an element in K. So, this defines, and so this is defines a linear form. It's one has to check that F is K linear. But that is more or less obvious. If you have two sums like this, finite sums, the sum and apply F is same thing as taking the sum of the coefficients. And also one has to check now that this F is different, F does not belong to the subspace generated by Vj, F does not belong. This we have to check, but that is also not so difficult. Let us check that. So, if F is that, if suppose F belongs, if F belongs to this subspace, what does that mean? That means F has a expression Vi star. You write here, this is Vi star. What does that mean? That is, F we can write as a combination summation B Bj Vj star j in I, with the property that this Bj tuple, Bj is I tuple, and this tuple is in K power round bracket I. So, it has, suppose it is this, then we should get a contradiction. So, only finitely many Bj's are non-zero, and I is our infinite set. So, choose an index small k in I which is different from such that this index k does not belong to all those j's for which Bj's are non-zero. This is a finite subset of I. This is finite subset of I, it is contained in I, and definitely I is infinite. Therefore, I can always choose k in I which is not in this. And now, what will be f of Vk? Remember, our definition of f of Vk says the sum of the coefficients, but here is only one coefficient, namely 1. Vk has coefficient 1 and all other v has coefficient 0. So, this is 1. On the other side, if it is equality here, then it will be this j in I, bj evaluated, this evaluated at Vk. But this evaluated at Vk, I will take it inside, because this is a finite sum, all these are linear forms, so I will take it inside. So, this is all those j in I, bj, vj star, Vk. But you see j does not appear here, wherever bj is non-zero, this k does not appear there, it does not appear when k is the index j where bj is 0, then this is 0, that is contradiction. When k is none of the bj, none of the index j, so that bj is non-zero, so this has to be 0. So, altogether this side is 0. So, 1 equal to 0, that is a contradiction, because k is a field, fields are never 0. Field by definition, field, if k is a field, field is never 0. That is part of the definition of a field, one should not forget this. Okay. So, therefore, in case of V not finite dimensional, then the study is more complicated to study dual spaces, and also looking for duality etc. will become more and more complicated. So, we will confine ourselves to finite dimensional cases, and the next task is now, next what we are going to invoke the study is, so V is here, V star is here, and we are assuming the V is finite dimensional, n is the dimension of V, and we have also checked that this is also dimension of V star. Nice, we have a basis here, then we have a corresponding basis V1 star, Vn star, a dual basis. Next thing I want to study subspaces here, subspaces of V and subspaces of V star. This I will do it in the next lecture, but what will prove that is, if somebody is a subspace, then what is the corresponding subspace here, what is the relation between their dimensions and so on. So, that is going to establish the duality. Okay, we will continue next time. Thank you.